All right, guys, let's look at some stock charts. Let's do some technical analysis on the markets and look at some trade ideas. Again, this channel, everything on here is just my opinion. Nothing is trading advice. Just a quick little disclaimer. And what I want to point out is just a couple things I'm seeing in the markets as of today. So day by day, we look at this. It continues to kind of build on the picture that we build a thesis on. Right now, I have a bear thesis. So most of the videos are going to be bearish in nature because I have a bear thesis in general, and that comes from my larger term bear thesis. Doesn't come from the rally that we had in the last couple months. Doesn't come really even from the crash that we had going back in February. My bear thesis comes from the weekly chart on the S&P 500 and the fact that it looks like we're in a topping pattern. So this is the bull market of the last decade, going back to the Great Recession, 2009. And you can see the purple line here outlines support, lots of reactions along the support. We broke that support back in 2018. Remember all the repo stuff that you were hearing about where the Fed was doing repo rates? And this is when the Fed they were hiking rates and they instantly turned, flip-flopped, and started cutting rates, started actually increasing their balance sheet after they were reducing it. And then we got the kickback rally of 2019. So it's a long-term thesis. I mean, that's how these things, bear markets is a multi-year thing. So day by day, when I have a bearish tone, it's because I'm thinking about the multi-year business cycle. And look, we kick back. Here's where we rejected. This is where I told everyone, I said, look, this is the top of the market. I'm calling the top of the market right here. That's the video I put out. And then we got the big impulsive rejection. And then what I'm viewing this as of right now, is a bear market rally. So that's why all the videos for the last couple months have still been bearish, have an kind of an underlying bearish theme, because I'm viewing this as a bear market rally. The fact that this is your bull market trend, this is a broken trend. Trend was broken in 2018. So pretty much since I created this channel, I've been bearish, and that's because I created this channel back here. So we broke the trend, and 2019 was your kickback year, and then so even though we can still go higher, and I admit we can still go higher here, we can do another back test of this trend line. It's completely possible that we run up and tag that trend line again, and so that that could be bullish action, and we could continue to go higher, even though the larger picture I'm still bearish, because this is topping action. Look, this is something to keep an eye on. When you have a bull trend, you ride what they call the wall of worry, and you grind higher, and you just consistently make higher highs, and we had a little bit of volatility right in here, but nothing compared to the price action moves that we're seeing right here. I mean, these moves right here back 2015 area, from the highs to the lows, you had about 11%. We're seeing moves now in the 30% range. So this is 35%. This is volatility. When volatility increases, that's an inflection point. When you have low volatility, that's market consensus. Market agrees. Market goes higher, and that's a bull market. That's what you'd see in a bull market. When you get to a point where volatility starts to increase, whether it's up or down, if volatility increases, that is the potential signaling of a change or an inflection point, and a top, basically, a top of the market. So that's what this looks like to me. It looks like we're kind of topping out. We're putting in volatile topping action, and I think we start to move lower. This is what you see when you start to change from a bull market to a bear market. Doesn't mean it has to be, but again, just want to point out that's where my larger thesis comes from, and that's why a lot of my videos are bearish in nature, and I continue to look for short opportunities, even though clearly the last couple months has been very bullish. All right, so let's look at the micro stuff, and we'll get a picture for what's going on. So here's what we got. Here's what's in play right now. Island top reversal right up here, island cluster top, and we basically set a stop right up here around 323. Nothing should really get over that. So far, we had the kickback rally, started to get into the gap, couldn't quite fill the gap on SPY, and we're starting to roll over. So we'll see. It just takes one good day to reverse this kind of downward slope that we've had over the last few days. But it also takes one bad day to increase the slope. So as of right now, still moving lower, and we'll just have to continue to watch it. Here's your resistance that I have. It's right around 312. We seem to be finding some resistance there. And then we also have down here, we've got this 308. We also have this gap. It's 312 resistance, I think, is the near-term resistance. And then we've got, down here at 308, I think, could be a logical area of support. And you can see you had a gap there. And we gapped, right, that's when we gapped up right here. So 308 for support, 312 for resistance, kind of watching that, see what happens. We'll probably drift down to the 308, and then maybe we bounce, maybe we bounce up and fill the gap. I don't know. In the short term, it's hard to tell, but I think we're going to head lower because we have the island top cluster reversal pattern. And this is a larger topping pattern, island cluster top, that signals the change in can signal a change in trend. It's a clear pattern that can signal the change in trend. And like I said, we got it. And then what I was expecting is a kickback rally, maybe filling the gap. And here's your kickback rally. We got that. I called all this out back when we saw this island cluster top. And actually, when we were way up here, I said there's a potential for us to gap down below the bearish rising wedge, which is right here. And that's exactly what we did. So we gap lower, then we got the island cluster top, and I said, okay. And at this point in time, I said, the way you trade these is, there could be a kickback rally. They're going to try to shake out anybody that gets short on this pattern. And here's your kickback rally. That's the shakeout move. And, if you're following each day, you would be able to see, how I'm calling this stuff out. I don't always get it right, but, I've definitely gotten this pattern right so far. So we'll see how it continues. Let's look at the Qs. So tech is very important. You want to make sure that you're always keeping an eye on tech. Tech has such a heavy weighting in the S&P 500. So tech, you need to know where that's going. That would tell you where the rest of the market goes for the most part. So tech is selling off a little bit. Nothing's really changed in the last couple of days. We're just in this area. We are below trend line support. So this is, now resistance. You can see this candle right here was a nice clean rejection. A little bit of a kickback today, but it's selling off. So we'll see if the selling starts increasing. But we're below support right now. So if you look, this is the trend that was in place for the last few months. And we broke that trend. Not a lot, not impulsively yet. So we haven't seen the major selling. So it could recover easily, but as of right now, below trend line support. The futures are interesting. Here's the NASDAQ futures. I just kind of marked this out. I don't know if it's going to play out, but this could be a potential rounding top pattern in the NASDAQ futures. And you've just got this kind of rounding price action where, we made higher highs, but now we're starting to roll over, and you can see we're starting to lose momentum. If you look at this, you'll see here's a lower high right here. We have a low, so that's kind of a lower low from this area. We have a low, a lower high. Now, if we roll over here and make a lower low, that would kind of complete this rounding pattern. And then we would look for like a break of this neckline right in here, probably somewhere right around 9870. We've got some support right there. So a break of that, and then maybe that rolls over. Just a potential pattern that I'm noticing. And ES, which is the S&P 500 futures, you can see that we're below support right here at 3,000. It's about 3,100, but we're below that. Just barely, but just slightly below. So we'll see if this continues to roll over. There's not a whole lot of posture change as of right now, but the technical, the technical posture is negative, is bearish. And it is playing out as of right now. People ask me if we have, like some people were saying we don't have negative divergence in the PPO. Well, here it is right here. You've got negative divergence that on the daily chart. So that's telling you that, these highs were losing momentum, and that's why this was making a lower high right here. It's just loss of momentum. That's what these indicators signal, a loss of momentum. Even though price can move higher, less and less people are participating in it, and it's a loss of momentum. And that's what you're looking for when trying to look for a reversal candlestick. So you look for negative, if you're going to short, you look for the negative divergence. When you have it, then you wait and you look for the sell signal. And that's exactly what this island top cluster was. That was your sell signal. And so it doesn't mean it plays out, but it's about as solid as you can get in trading when it comes to, making a risk reward, play the probabilities basically. And that's about as good as it gets. So moving on, here's XLV just chopping sideways. We'll just move right past that. There's not a whole lot there to look at. I want to look at this Boeing here. Okay, so Boeing has the same pattern as the SPY. Look, island cluster top right here. And basically, here's your reversal. And then here's your kickback rally. So we kicked back into the gap, filled the gap, popped it slightly, but then just selling off. And so it's continuing to sell off today. So we'll see if that picks up speed or if they're just going to kind of taper it out this weekend or this week and just do kind of sideways action. We don't know, but here's XOM. XOM is moving higher today, but here's why. And I actually noticed this. I took a trade on it. I just cut it a little too early. And I was long basically on this one. And the reason why is, look, you've got that major support. This is what I was showing you yesterday. I said, look, you've got major support. You're probably going to come down to this major support of 46.40. Well, today we opened below it down at 45.80. And I expected that they were going to recover that. And sure enough, complete recovery and back above support. So usually when you see, jumps like that down below support, you just kind of keep an eye on it. And if it starts to show strength during the day, starts to recover, that tells you that's a potential long trade for the day at least, and it can recover that major support. The reason why it would recover today is because on the hourly and the daily chart, you've got major support at 46.40. So people saw that as a buying opportunity and they took advantage of it. Here's Walmart, continued weakness. So this is how technical analysis works. Even though we've had a strong market recently in the last few months moving up, Walmart has been moving down. And I spotted this one, got on board short right up here at this gap, the top of this gap. And this was your shakeout move right here. You usually will see those. When there's a clear pattern or a clear potential for a trade, there's almost always going to be, at some point in that trade, a shakeout move that's going to make you question your position. And that's what this was right here. That's when they came out with earnings. But anyways, this continues to show relative weakness, continues to roll over. And, when we have kickbacks to, kickbacks in upward momentum, it's instantly sold into, and we roll back down to, we're at support right now at 117.80. I suspect it's going to break. I don't know if it'll break today, but we could, bounce around here for a little while, but I think we'll probably break at some point in time here relatively soon. And that'll most likely come when the markets break. But if we break this, probably going to get a pretty swift move down to this 113 level. And then we got the bottom of the wedge below. So that's the trade so far. It is about it's about 7 7/10 profitable percentage wise. Looking for another, looking for about another 10% more to the downside. So we're continuing to ride this trade down. Okay, Draftkings. This one I think might be some sort of a cult stock or some sort of millennial play. I don't know what this one is, to be honest, but I was in a chat room earlier today Occasionally I'll like check out like Mir Barak's chat room just to see if he's got any trade ideas. I couldn't find anything this morning, so I went over there to see what they were looking at, and I heard someone mention DraftKings, and that was kind of interesting. So just in the free chat, I don't pay for it or anything, but they there was no trade ideas over there either. But DraftKings is kicking back. Here's what you got on DraftKings. You've got negative divergence in the RSI and the PPO. So that just shows loss of momentum, right? It's not, we don't have a divergent high yet, but we do have divergence. So even though we made the high right here and we haven't made a new higher price yet, so we don't have a divergent high when it comes to price, but we do have loss in momentum and loss in it's basically, that's what this signals, loss in momentum. And we've seen a little bit of loss in momentum from this high. Not a lot, but we've come down 5%, down at the bottom here, down 20%. So maybe that's it. But there was nothing to get short on up here at this peak. Yeah, you had to wait for the break of this trend line. So here's your trend line, and here's the break in trend line right here. So that's the entry. That's the short entry right there. You could have taken it up here and anticipated it, but that was a little, that's higher risk because it could have just held support and bounced higher. There was no way of knowing what it was going to do. So I took the short on the break of the trend line. We've had it. And then what I did here, I saw that they were trying to do a pretty strong kickback rally. So I exited my short right there. And then I let it run all the way up here to the trend line again. And then I reestablished the short right up there. So I'm short from right in here down about 2% or 3%. We'll just call it 3 because they've been doing these kickback rallies. You can see each morning what they're doing is coming up and bidding it up, and then it seems to sell off during the day. So, they bid it up here in the morning, sold off in the day. They're bid it up today. We'll see what happens the rest of the day. If this kicks all the way back, all the way up to here at some point in time, let's say it gets up to the trend line sometime soon, another 7% or so, I'll probably add to my short position. And I don't like to do that. I don't like to add to shorts on a losing trade. So what I'll probably do is I'll wait for some sort of confirmation. If it kicks up here and then gives me a rejection candle, I'll probably add to the short right there. And that would be a divergent high, which means you made a higher price and the momentum is still negative. And that just tells you that you have a high probability. It just raises the probability that at that point in time, that's the highest price you're going to get, and it's going to start to move lower. So that's DraftKings, down on that one slightly, about 3% as of right now. The way I manage these, especially these trades, because I knew these were really high flyers, they've gone up like 200 and almost 300%. So I just don't take large position sizes. I take smaller sizes. I kind of established a starter short so that I have a little bit of dry powder left that I can potentially add to the position if it goes against me or even goes in my favor. I can press it. And that's how I was going to play these because they're runners, and I didn't want to. You don't want to go too heavy on such a high momentum stock. But when the momentum shifts, these things can come crashing down pretty quickly. So that's what I was looking for, is the momentum shift, and that's why I took the trade here when we broke the trend. And we're just seeing kind of the tail ends of the momentum. It's kind of, I think it's the people that just don't really realize that the momentum is shifting, and they don't see it, so they're still buying, and meanwhile it's shifting beneath their feet. And so we'll see. I could be wrong, of course. Okay, I'll cover a couple gold stocks to give everyone a read. I long-term bullish on gold. Gold is in a bull market. But we've lost momentum basically. We've got a sideways market, or a deer market. So here's gold bullion, and we've pretty much gone sideways for, I don't know, it's been a long time, about 2.5 months. So that's still not bearish. I mean, it's building, it's coiling, and you can see maybe we're just building energy for the next move higher. That's what that tells me. You know, this could just be a bull flag where you have, you know, you've got the flagpole, and then you're making a flag like this, and then you break out of the flag, or if you do, and make the next move higher. And see if I, you know, that would put us probably over the all-time highs. So it could easily be doing that. And as of right now, I'm just kind of neutral on it. That's why I haven't been covering gold as much, because there's just nothing going on. It's just sideways. So I'm waiting for something to tell me, you know, the next direction. I think it's probably up. That's what my gut tells me. But at the same time, there's just nothing in the chart here to trade. I mean, we're right here in the middle of the range, and there's just nothing there to do. So if you're long, you could just stay long. If you're, you know, I wouldn't be short, but you know, and if you weren't long, maybe wait for some sort of a breakout or something. Here's Barrett Gold, same kind of deal, pretty much sideways. All right, so got some support down here at 22.50, 21.50, $20. There's lots of support down here. That to me looks like areas to buy, but we're just kind of bouncing around sideways right now. So here's Agnico Eagle. This one charts a little cleaner right now than Barrick. So here we've got a downtrend line in Agnico Eagle. Right now we're below the gap. So look, here's this gap way back here, and we're trading down into the gap. We've already been down in the gap a couple times. We have not filled. I think at this point we probably fill the gap at 54.40, but that's a little too obvious. I think if they fill the gap, maybe they're going to undercut it and come down to the bottom of this support line. If they do that, that's a great spot to buy. I will definitely be buying down there, and I might even grab some at the gap, but definitely down here at the bottom of the support line. You can see reaction. This is a reaction. See, it's undercut it, but it opened below it, but instantly popped up right above it. So that just verifies that. And then lots of closes and reactions along the trend line. And then again, they did it again right here. Undercut it, instantly recovered. So that verifies the trend line. And if we can get a price down here near this trend line, that's your support. This ultimately is creating a bull flag. Here's your flagpole and your flagging, which a flag is basically just, you know, slight downward price action, consolidating, and then what you look for is a breakout back to the upside of the flag. You break out the top of the range, and it makes another leg higher. So that's what I think we get. If we get some sort of swift move down, I don't know if we're going to get it, but if we do, that might be all she wrote, and we'll probably rebound from there and break higher. So I like that one. That's all I'm going to cover on the gold. Guys, that's it for the video. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if there's anything you want me to look at, and I'll try to include those in a separate video. I'm out tomorrow, and I'll be out Monday, and I won't be in town this weekend, so I won't be able to put out a video till next Tuesday, so we'll just have to come back and get a read on where things are at. As of right now, I think everyone kind of understands my views, so thanks for subscribing, and leave me a thumbs up. Catch you guys on the next one.